Well, hello, good morning, good afternoon, or good evening, depending on where you're listening to me from around the world. This is JFI Radio Live. My name is Yousepha Fawcett, your host. You are very welcome. And each week I'll be chatting with you live and bringing you my stories of life working in the professional areas of business training and learning. AI learning tech, just on the edges, just to do with education, HR, open education, quality, and business excellence. And what's so exciting is that I seem to be doing all sorts of different things each and every week. And it's my pleasure to bring it here to you here every Friday. Now, there's also my global news roundup. Now, that's a regular feature each week. It's right in the middle of the live broadcast, and I cover a whole breadth of what's going on in those areas that I specialize in, as well as some more maybe diverse and more unusual stories that you might have missed. I get these from source from around the world and also from my wonderful global business network of colleagues and friends. And if you want to learn more about each of the news items, then you head over to my website, jfiradio.com. You scroll down and you go to the big blue button, and that takes you to the replays and to the news links, and then you can follow up for yourself. Now, this is a huge, huge thank you to all of you that are starting to listen to me each week. Thank you for your support, your kind comments, and I'm edging a little tiny bit closer to my YouTube subscriptions. I started with one, my good friend Linda, and I'm now 3 weeks later, I've got 40 subscriptions. So my target is 100 by the end of this year. So help me get to that point. I would love to be able to do so. This is really a massive experiment about going back live, something that I used to do 10 years ago when I first started podcasting. But the world has changed, and social media has changed, and the world of live streaming has changed. So let's see where I get to. In the meantime, let's just have some fun. So, what have I been up to all week? Well, I have been doing lots and lots of facilitation of workshops. I've been doing two online and one in person. I'll tell you a bit more about the one in person a little bit later on. I've also had a lot of meetings because I'm in the middle of preparing some submission bids to the European Commission with my Norwegian and Latvian NGO colleagues. And these are going to be two really exciting projects. Fingers crossed that we manage to get them approved. One is about supporting quality in education in schools with an amazing self-assessment tool. So that will be really, really good if we could get that one through. And the second one is about a project that improves learning and eventually jobs for people who slip through the education system. Now, some of them are sometimes called NEETs, so not in education, employment, or training, and they slip through the system and end up unemployed. And there are so many knock-on effects regarding that. Why they slip through the system could be many, many different reasons, but they do. And as a result, it's quite a drain on the economy, but also they are missing out on jobs and employers are missing out on jobs and people who could fill those jobs. So I hope that project gets through. And the third thing that I've been doing this week is preparing for my trip to Rotterdam. So that's next week. I go on Monday and I come back on Wednesday, and I have got the opportunity to work with just some amazing HR professionals as they're starting to look and consider their readiness for the future. Now that's exciting. Why? Because my original profession was human resources, and in particular, organizational development, transformation, and change. So, though that's what I've been up to this week, I've got three things that I want to sort of cover with you today because it just builds upon those three, and then we'll stop and we'll go for the news reporters before. As ever, if you're listening to me on YouTube, please go to the comment section. I will pick up if you put any comments in, chats, any words of encouragement, any hellos, and I'll do a shout out to you live during the broadcast. You can also do it if you're listening to me on my JFI Radio Facebook page. And again, use the comments area there and I'll pick up the chat. Okay. Now, I am really looking forward to going back to Rotterdam. I was there back in May this year, celebrating European Bildung Day. I'm going to try saying that first thing in the morning. European Bildung Day. And I just love seeing my friends there too. I was at and am going back to Erasmus University of Rotterdam and the very innovative Erasmus enterprise. It's it's quite unique actually. It's a learning ecosystem, and what it does is it brings together a whole range of multidisciplinary expertise from Rotterdam, yes, and from Delft, as well as accessing regional investment funds. And it's all in one location. So this is at the European Erasmus University of Rotterdam on the Woedenstein campus. I don't even know if I'm saying that correctly, in Rotterdam itself. And they do a whole range of things, but specifically they empower visionary entrepreneurs. Now, how exciting is that? So if you want to build your entrepreneurial skills, if you've got an idea for a new startup business, if you've got an existing business and you want to grow it and scale it, then the Erasmus Enterprise team are exactly the people that you need to go to talk about how you do it. And if you're studying in Erasmus University Rotterdam, you have on campus this amazing resource to take your ideas forward. So I'm really looking forward to going back to see my friends there, Mahisa, Frederica, and of course you, Ernst. I'm so looking forward to seeing you again. Ernst and I worked together over in the UAE when we were doing assessments, and we've stayed in touch ever since. You know, Ernst, what we need to do is try and arrange a time when our third wheel, the third part of our little group, Shook, over in Dubai, is in Europe, and then we can all come across to Erasmus Enterprise and have coffee, go into the pavilion, and just have some time together, getting back old friends, sharing past memories, and maybe even making a few future ones as well. So I think I think as you're listening to me here on the radio each week, you're you're getting the idea now that I love learning and I love helping people learn. And I love seeing that look on their faces when they twig what I'm talking about and start formulating, you know, their own ideas, their opinions, taking the ideas forward, maybe thinking wider than the topic I've started. I love it all. Now, I used a word there. I used a strange word there that you might not have heard before. Twig. I don't mean something that falls off a tree. No. It's it's a very informal British verb, and it means to understand or to realize something, but usually maybe at the last minute or after a period of time, or maybe you've had some difficulty and finally you understand it. You go, ah, I twig it. So why am I telling you this? Well, during the week, at one of my events, at one of the facilitation workshops that I was running, I was taught another rather strange, unusual word that I had never heard of before. So one of the participants introduced me to the word spuddle. Let me say that again. Spuddle. So why were we talking about Spuddle? Well, we weren't. We were talking about the management and leadership and how you give developmental feedback to individuals in the team in a performance management situation. And to spuddle describes someone who seems to be very busy without actually achieving anything. So to maybe work very feebly or ineffectively, or just to be seen to be busy being busy but doing nothing. And it to maybe fuss over trifles or make a really big thing, "I'm so busy." And of course, this conversation came about as we were talking about performance management, and we were talking about how sometimes when we try to put in place new initiatives, something very creative, someone says, "Well, I'm already so busy. I'm busy all the time, and you want me to do more." So that's how the context came about. And then this participant said to me, "Ah, you mean spuddle." And I said, "Well, I didn't know I meant spuddle, as I hadn't heard the word before." And then we did a bit of looking it up. Sorry, we just went away from the subject we were supposed to be talking about and went to look at spuddle. And apparently its origins are in 17th century dialectal British English. Who knew? And it's associated with East Anglia, which is part of the east of England. And it's very colloquial, it's very informal. Not only is it rarely used these days, most people probably, like me, have never heard of it before. So how would you use spuddle in your normal day-to-day life now? Well, here you go. So you might say to somebody, "Stop spuddling around and get on with the real work." I'm not quite sure if that's gonna land very well where you are in your business, but anyway, stop spuddling around. Or he or she spent all morning spuddling around about in the garden, but didn't actually plant anything. So I just loved the sound of the word. And obviously, it was very relevant in our discussion about performance management and its value. Not, sorry, the value of performance management, not the value of spuddling. But it brought a laugh to to us all. And learning is meant to be fun. And if you can bring some fun into it and you have something silly like the word spuddle, I can't stop saying it. Spuddle. If you, my friend Penny, shout out to you, Penny. She is a very accomplished and very serious, good fun as well, but a very serious HR professional. And she said to me, I told that I ought to get a life because I said I was going to bring it up on the radio this week. And she said, "Oh, Yosefa, just get a life, please." So I'm not quite sure whether she's going to introduce spuddle into any of her day-to-day language. But do you know what? I think I am from now on. And all of my participants in the group, we had a laugh. We were talking about spuddle, but actually what it will do is it will jog their memory about performance management and some of the real learning issues that we had when we were talking about about it. So there you go. I did say earlier, didn't I, that I had gone into London. Two of these workshops were online and one was in London, and it felt so strange to be delivering this particular workshop uh, in person. I have done a few in-person workshops since the end of the pandemic, but since 2019 up to now and continuing, like many others, I've pivoted to delivering training and facilitating workshops on MS Teams or on Zoom. And whether you love it or you hate it, we've all become very used to doing this online. So to go back and do something actually in person with a group who are also in person, we're not talking hybrid here, we're talking them in the room, something that I've done for decades. It's like riding a bike. It's my profession. And then during it, to have this momentary blip in the moment about how to do something. That just caught me completely off guard. I wasn't ready for that. So I then I'll explain to you. During the event, I had to do something, and because I'd got it wrong and I had that momentary blip, I had like a 30-second recalibrate. My brain was working at like 100 miles an hour. I corrected myself, and yeah, normal pre-COVID service was resumed. So what was I doing? Well, when you are working with groups, occasionally you are segregating them into smaller groups so that they can do particular activities. And we were just about to do a role play. I know, not everybody likes role play, but it has a lot of value in the learning process. So we were organizing role play, and I wanted a random selection. I didn't want to just work with the person sitting next to you, so have that pairing just with whoever was next to you. I wanted it to be shuffled around and reorganized. And for years and years and years, I've always had a very, very simple, straightforward little technique that did the random mix for me, rather than the former, as I said, just sitting next to someone. And what you do is you go with the number of the people in the room. So in this case, I had 10. And I wanted this to be an exercise in pairs. So you divide the 10 by 2 and you say, okay, I need 5 groups. That's easy, even for me. That's easy. So I had 10 people yesterday, and what I then do is when I say point, I don't mean rudely point. I mean just so you and you and you and you. So I'd say 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. And I'd go round the room so everyone had the number either 1, 2, 3, 4, and 5. And then you say, well, who's in number 1? Here, me. So you two are together. Who's 2? Etc. Now, it mixes up people really nicely, really quickly. And I messed it up. I mean, for goodness sake, I just went 1, 2, 1, 2, 1, 2, thinking I needed 2 people in the group. I just completely forgot. Why? I forgot because we're so used to using Teams and Zoom to organize things for us. In Teams, you just press the rooms button in the top ribbon and tell it how many rooms you want and to shuffle and randomly select, and it does it for you. So you don't have to think. So, my goodness, doing it in person again for a hot, sweet 30 seconds, I realized I'd done it wrong, caught it, put it right. How on earth could I forget to do something absolutely so basic? Well, we're all becoming overly reliant on technology to do the thinking for us. We are on a slippery slope. And I talk about this a lot in my sessions with students, with business teams, in workshops. I even focus a lot of my personal research on the topic, and I write articles. So I wrote one in Medium recently called "Are We Becoming Too Reliant on Machines to Think for Us?" If you're interested, just go to medium.com/@ so you know that alphasand Josefa.Fawcett, and you'll find my articles. And there's 5 key actions, by the way, in that article, if you're interested in reading it, about the actions we could take if we humans really want to thrive in the workplace of the future and have some kind of control over technology. So that's what I wanted to share with you this morning. It brings you up to date with my current news. What about the news from around the world? To do with business training and learning, AI learning tech, HR, open education, quality, and business excellence. So let's find out. Let's go to the newsroom on today, Friday, the 20th of September. Here are the latest global news headlines.
You're listening to JFI Radio Live. Here's the latest training and learning news from around the globe.
From JFI Radio Newsroom, here are the latest global news headlines. North America. The American Hospital Association works on performance improvement in healthcare, setting up the Quality Collective to provide a collaborative platform for leaders to drive forward quality improvements. Throughout the QC, members share their thoughts on the future of quality in healthcare, identifying top priorities for the next 3 to 5 years and key focus areas to build quality back to pre-pandemic levels. South America. Reporting from Sao Paulo, TD Synnex, a leading global distributor and aggregator of solutions for the IT ecosystem, announced the opening of their Centre of Excellence in Latin America and the Caribbean, in partnership with IBM. A competency-based centre, it offers business partners and companies in the region the opportunity to learn about and explore cutting-edge technologies for the industry, such as AI, data, automation, customized solutions and sustainability, so as to impact and solve business challenges. Already in Brazil, the centre will soon be operational in the LAC countries. Europe and the UK. In 2024, the autumnal equinox will occur on the 22nd of September at 12:44 p.m. UK time, reminding us that all things ebb and flow in nature, and taking time for reflection helps humans achieve a better balance during challenging times, and with each experience gain wisdom and insight. At the equinox, days get shorter and darker due to the tilting of the axis away from the sun. The Global Bildung Network, headquartered in Denmark, recognizes both the spring and autumn equinox through a day-long online event, with speakers from around the world, each sharing something that reminds us all what it means to be human. Africa. Vice President of Nigeria, Kashim Shettima, has reported that President Bola Tinubu's administration is working hard to address the bottlenecks to their universal education system. A series of reforms of existing institutions were discussed at the Nigerian Air Force Conference Center in Abuja to overcome the inadequacies that have frustrated educational provision across the country for so long. From the recent Supreme Court rulings, there will be more local autonomy over finances, which will help provide better local educational initiatives for children. Asia. Uzbekistan is experiencing a major educational challenge amid rapid population growth. In 1991, the population was 20 million, and in no more than 3 decades since, this has grown to 37.5 million. By 2040, this is expected to increase to over 40 million, all of which puts increasing pressure on the education system. Parents across Uzbekistan are increasingly dissatisfied with the quality of public education. Classes are overcrowded, with 35 to 38 students per group. Teachers are primarily preoccupied with paperwork rather than teaching, and as a result, many are turning to private education to prop up the system. The Middle East. His Highness Sheikh Mohammed bin Rashid Al Maktoum, Vice President and Prime Minister of the UAE and ruler of Dubai, honoured the winners of the Dubai Government Excellence Awards 2024. The Dubai Government Excellence Programme has been continually driving excellence since it was launched 27 years ago, establishing outstanding performance as a hallmark of Dubai's government. 30 government entities were assessed and a total of 12 awards were conferred in the organisational category, while 8 awards were bestowed upon individuals. Australia and New Zealand. New research in New Zealand shows that disabled students' experiences in tertiary education can be difficult and accessing support can be inconsistent, with barriers to inclusion common and power dynamics making it hard for disabled students to speak up. With over 1 million disabled people in the country, that's 1 in 4, and 7% of disabled people having postgraduate qualifications, compared with 21% of non-disabled people, there is still great inequity. Tertiary Education Commission, the New Zealand Qualifications Authority, and the National Disabled Students Association have published the Let's Get Accessible report, highlighting practical ways to address this imbalance. That's been your Global Weekly News Roundup. Please come back and join me next week. Hi, and you're back. Thank you so much. I hope you found that of interest. There were so many things that were there. Now, if you want to, let me just check I've got the right ticker up for you. If you want to access some of the links and the replays, then you can go to jfiradio.com. Have a look. There it is on the ticker right there. And what you can also do is pick up the links to the news stories and the sources from which they came. Now, in this second part of the broadcast, you can get involved in the show too by typing your comments or questions using the comment section in YouTube or on the JFI Radio Facebook page if you're listening from there. There's no live interaction on LinkedIn yet. I'm sure they'll sort that out soon. So usually the best place is to go to YouTube. And also, just because I cheekily want to ask you, just like everybody else does, please become a subscriber so you can help me get to that 100 by the end of the year. And when you do type, tell me where you're listening from. Maybe make a comment, a nice one, please, okay? Or ask a question, or just say hi. So let's have a look. Some of the news items. Well, there were three in the news today about quality improvement and excellence. There was information about the American Hospital Association and their quality collective. There was the Center of Excellence in Sao Paulo, and there was the Dubai Government Excellence Awards 2024. Now, I've been involved in the UAE Excellence Awards since 2017. So I watched that very, very carefully, and I'm always incredibly interested with the people that are winning because they're really pushing an awful lot of boundaries over there and making improvements. But you know what? With this age of AI, quality and business excellence is even more crucial over and above the norm within that area. I mean, why do you do quality and business excellence anyway? Well, for many organizations, it's about maintaining some kind of competitive edge through continuous innovation. It's also in response to the market demands, so you can evolve new products based on what's required. And it is about maintaining standards, maintaining high standards, and staying ahead in a dynamic landscape, something that is really important. So you throw AI into the mix as well, and you start to create a synergy between the two. But there's some things to look at as to where that synergy comes from and what you can do with it. I mean, first of all, if you complement AI capabilities with human expertise, you can then contextualize understanding. So it's a real merger of minds. Did I just say AI had a mind? I must be going crazy. I perhaps haven't had my first cup of coffee this morning. The other thing is AI can do all the generating of solutions, and it gets the data, but who makes sense of that? We do, humans, because we excel at thinking outside the box. Oh, that's such a hackneyed term, but I'll use it for now. And we're able to come up with novel approaches, not AI. It just moves the data around and makes it accessible to us in a much faster way. And whereas AI provides data-driven recommendations, you're not going to get past this. It's us humans that look at making ethical judgments and consider things from a broader context. And finally, of course, AI can deal with customer service issues. I mean, you only have to think about the automated bot responses on telephone call centers. I mean, we all get really frustrated, but they're so good these days. You don't always recognize right from the start that it's not a human. Don't get me wrong, we still need to have that human empathy and the interpersonal skills. They're vital. They're vital moving forward. They're going to continue to be vital if we want to build proper, lasting relationships. I mean, who wants a conversation with a robot? Really, we want it with another human being. And if you've got good business relations with your customers, with your business connections, with your partners, with your workforce, the whole thing gels far better. So I'm talking about a synergy here. Now, I go back to one of the workshops that I was doing this week, and I heard from one of the participants that in their organization, AI is running training sessions about how to give difficult feedback. And as I said, we were talking about feedback and performance management and difficult situations. So it naturally progressed to me being told this. And apparently, the online independent learner that was in the workshop was telling me that they're faced with scenarios and a visual bot. You know, these automated, these AI generated bots, which again, you have to look very closely at the video to see that they're not real human beings. They were acting as the other person. So as you were responding to the situation, they were replying back. Now, my first reaction, because I'm a bit of a geek, is wow, I love it. I love it. Then one delegate said to me when we were doing the wrap up, and they've just experienced that human role play that I'd set up earlier with that 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 thing. They said they'd learnt more in that 10 minutes of role play with a human being than they had in the 2 hours of online interaction with an automated AI generated human online. Hmm. In my mind, I think, well, I know that's something for other instructional designers to think about. Just because we have the technology doesn't mean that we always have to use it. I think the secret is knowing what to use when. It's a bit like the tools. I was going through a variety of tools for analysis and coaching and decision making with my workshops. And I said, just because you've got these tools, pop them into this invisible toolbox, this kit bag. The secret is knowing how to open the bag and which tool to take out in the most appropriate situation, not just use it because it's there. When we're way past that idea of, oh, there's a fad, there's an idea, there's a new tool or technique that is doing the rounds in business, we must use it. That went out with the arc. I know there are some organizations that are still really caught up in the very latest thing, but that doesn't always bring you the success you want. The secret is the human element. Work out which is the most appropriate to use and when, not just go with the flow and follow everybody else. We have a brain, we need to use it and continue to use it. There's just one more final thing to mention in the show today about ethics and the ethical and responsible use of AI, particularly as a critical aspect and approach to quality improvement and business excellence. I want a big, big shout out to my lovely colleagues over in Geneva. Hi, Globe Ethics. Hi. I was over in Geneva in June this year, podcasting at their amazing collaborative event with ICDE at the Leadership Summit. And the main topic on the agenda was the challenge and opportunity that is facing many educational leaders and innovators when they are looking at and working with a very globally connected digital era. Now, if you want to listen to some of those podcasts, please head over. Let me change the ticker because I think, there we go. That's the one I want to show you. Let me show you this ticker. All the back episodes of JFI Radio since 2015, because remember, I've been doing this 10 years, they're available on Spotify. And there's the link, tinyurl.com/JFIR Spotify. Missed it? Don't worry. Look, the ticker's coming round again. Here it comes. So you can go back and you can look at past episodes and listen to those from Geneva because they were really interesting. I had a fabulous time over there. Or you can go over to jfiradio.com and click on the big button for podcast seasons and look at season 14, and it's episodes 9 to 21. And there are also some really exciting articles on the Globe Ethics website itself. Their publications cover a lot around ethical use of AI. And if you've not experienced it or read about it before, pop on over to Globe Ethics. The website is Globe Ethics, but there's only one E. So it's GLOBETHICS, Globe Ethics with one E, .net/publications. Now is the time. If you want to ask me any questions, let me just have a look over in my dashboard to see if there is a question there or not. Or you're all particularly quiet this morning. Maybe I haven't piqued your interest, or maybe you're working, or if you're on the other side of the world, maybe you're sleeping and you are only catching this on the replay. Don't worry, it's fine. I'm not going to catch everybody live all the time. It is not a problem. You can go back to the replays either on jfiradio.com or on YouTube, and you can post a comment after the event, and be sure I will respond to you. Without a doubt, I will always respond to you. Now, if you've got any news about something that's going on, it's really exciting in your country, then why not write to me? I've put my email address up on the screen. It's studio@jfiradio.com. And yes, write to me. Bring me some exciting news, innovative news about what you're doing and when you're doing it. And I will feature this live on the radio. And yeah, I very much appreciate any help you can give me whenever you can give it. Each week will be different. Sometimes you'll have more time to spend with me, sometimes you won't. And that's absolutely fine. I'm here. You can also use some of these back episodes if you're a trainer or you're a facilitator or you are an academic tutor. Feel free to direct your learners to JFI Radio Live on YouTube because I want the subscribers, and they can listen to the recordings. And you can also use the content from my podcasts on Spotify to support maybe your learning content. Just get them to listen to anything appropriate to your topic. Ask them to formulate one question each and then bring that to class and use it as a conversation starter to bring your already crafted learning content one stage further. Thank you. Thank you, all of you, for listening. I will talk to you again, same time, same place next week on Friday, the 27th of September. Have a great weekend and bye for now. JFI Radio now.